Good day, folks. This is Shai Naseem once again, and today we are going to talk about once again about autism, our favorite subject. Welcome to Disorders Care, another live session with you. And today we are going to talk about a very famous and somewhat controversial topic, and that is called level of autism, diagnosis and symptoms. We're also going to talk about different diagnoses and different symptoms and different procedures that help you go through this condition. But first of all, and most importantly, we're going to talk about level of autism. Now, I understand that there is a lot of different opinions about this topic, and people usually ask us about this topic, and they ask us about level of autism. They try to understand this, how this works, and how this autism is divided into different levels. They are quite curious about this topic, in fact. And I see a lot of questions on my different videos and on our YouTube channel. They're already discussing about this topic, and they usually come with different perceptions, different information. The information they get from different sources of maybe internet, or maybe articles or journals, something like that, or maybe just out of gossip. They get these information and these insights, and they share these insights with us, which we really appreciate, and we really like your contribution, discussing things with us and telling us, or even if you are asking something about these topics. So let's settle this discussion today, and we'll try to give you as much information as possible, and the information we have collected from different sources and different credible sources, and we will share that information with you. Now, people do have misconceptions about level of autism, and they have these concerns, and the people think when they are talking about some kind of illness or some kind of condition, they think it's like a math problem and it has a definite answer. But when you talk about mental condition, it is not like a math or algebra problem. It doesn't have a definite answer like 1 or 2 or in numbers. These are very what you call a complex conditions, and they do not have simple or direct answers. So you have to deal with these kind of conditions. I'm also going to talk about some what you call it frequently asked questions that people ask us. I'm also going to talk about those questions, and people who are new to these concepts or new to these situations, they ask those questions, and sometimes people who are already accustomed with these conditions, they ask these questions too. So let's talk about the level of autism. What are the level of autism? Well, in fact, there are 3 levels of autism, and as I've already discussed these things quite recently, that autism is a spectrum. That's why we call it ASD, autism spectrum disorder. And why do we call it a spectrum? Because it's not in a definite situation, or it's not something which is quite particular. So it's autism can be severe. Autism can have a severe symptoms and effects to one person, and it can have milder symptoms in another person. So it varies from one person to another person. Its symptoms varies from one person to another person, and its it also affect differently to each person. That is why it is called a spectrum. One person could be on a spectrum, like out of 10, he could be on level 2, like his severeness of the symptom, or his the intimacy of the condition could be on number 2, and the other person could be on number 10. So that is why it is called a spectrum. So there are different situations, different conditions, different severity levels. That is why it is called a spectrum. And this same reason, because of the same reason, experts have divided it into 3 levels. Now, we are going to talk about these 3 levels, but keep in mind that different medical professionals, different researchers has explained this and categorized this into different levels. There was this study last day. I was reading about this study when I was preparing for this today's session. When I was preparing for this session and I was researching about this topic, I came to know about a research that described this condition, and that categorized this condition into 8 different levels. Now you see, it is quite normal. Everybody is trying to understand this. Researchers are trying to understand this, and they categorize it in different situation, in differently. And each, obviously, all those levels that he described, that 8 levels, those categorization was because of some other reasons. So this will be for some other reasons. So these levels that I'm going to talk about are 3 levels of autism. Usually, researchers and medical professionals categorize autism in 3 levels. As you already know, that it is a very complex condition that affects people in different ways, and to better understand ASD, it is often divided into 3 different levels based on the level of support a person may need to navigate everyday life. That is the reason, because I've already told you, it is called a spectrum. It affects different people in different ways, and some people might not need any help, any external help or support from any other person to go on with their daily life activities, but some people may need more support than the other people going through the same condition. And similarly, there could be people who need very extensive care and support throughout the life. So understanding these levels can help parents, caregivers and educators better understand individuals with ASD and provide them with the support they need to thrive and go with their daily life. Let's talk about level 1. Level 1 is requiring support. We call it level 1 because in this level you do need support, not at that extensive level, but still you do need support. The first level of autism spectrum disorder is characterized by individuals who require some support to navigate social situations and communicate effectively. People with level 1 ASD may face challenges in their daily life that can be difficult to overcome. They may have difficulty with social interactions and may struggle with initiating conversations or maintaining eye contact. As a result, they might feel disconnected from the world around them. Individuals with level 1 ASD may have difficulty with social communication, which can lead to misinterpretation of social cues. For example, they may not understand facial expressions such as a smile indicating happiness or sarcasm. Mostly they don't understand sarcasm. They may miss non-verbal cues like body language, tone of voice and eye contact. Usually when we shrug our shoulders like this, it definitely gives some insight to our thinking, and it's sort of an answer in different situations. But people who are autistic, they don't get these kind of non-verbal communication cues. They may struggle with turn taking in conversations and interrupt others unintentionally. They may not pick up on social norms or rules such as personal space or appropriate topics for a discussion. We have this. All of us live in different societies and different cultures and different background, and we have made these civilizations, and where we have our own rules, our norms. Some things we feel comfortable about, and some things we don't feel comfortable about talking. So there are different taboos. For example, sexual discussion is a taboo for most of the world, most of the areas, most of the societies, and similarly. There are different things when we talk about religion, when we talk about philosophy, when we talk about magic, adventure, fantasy. So different cultures have different taboos, and people don't like to talk about or people don't like talking in front of other people. So these people who are affected by autism, people who are autistic, they might not understand these things, that why these things are taboos. We go through these kind of things every day, but now why can't we talk about these things openly? It's very important to remember that individuals with ASD are not intentionally being difficult or rude. They simply process information differently. Additionally, individuals at this level may have difficulty with transitions and may become easily overwhelmed in new or what you call in new settings or unfamiliar situations. This can make everyday activities such as going to school or work challenging for them. It's important to provide support and understanding to individuals with ASD to help them cope with these challenges and live fulfilling lives. This was level 1, and let's talk about level 2. In level 2, it is as I've already told you, these levels are categorized by how much support a person or an individual need. So in level 2, requiring substantial support. The second level of autism spectrum disorder is characterized by individuals who require substantial support to function in everyday life. People with level 2 ASD may face more significant challenges with social interaction and communication than those with level 1. For example, they may struggle to initiate or maintain conversation with others. In first level, we see that they may not understand facial expressions such as a smile indication or maybe a sarcasm. But in level 2, we see that they might face difficulty in even initiating a conversation. Even in start talking to somebody could be a difficult thing for somebody, and or maintaining the conversation with others. They may have difficulty in understanding non-verbal cues such as facial expression or tone of voice. They may not understand social norms or rules such as taking turns in conversation or personal space. And moreover, individual with level 2 ASD may exhibit repetitive behaviors and have highly specific interests. They may not align with their peers' interests. For instance, they may have intense interest in specific topics, like it could be trains, it could be storm, it could be weather, it could be anything. It could be cards or maybe something like that. Maybe a particular video game or particular game, sports. So they can have these kind of interests, and they might have difficulty engaging in other activities. There was this kid we have met during our research, and he was quite obsessed with the dinosaurs. So these kind of things. They may engage in repetitive behaviors such as hand flapping or rocking to self-stimulate or manage stress. Due to these challenges, individual at this level may require assistance with activities of daily living such as dressing, bathing, and preparing meals. They may also need additional support in developing independent living skills and managing their emotions. Despite these challenges, with level 2 ASD can lead fulfilling lives with the appropriate support and resources. But they might need support in different daily routines and in different life activities, but still they can live a fulfilling life. Now let's talk about level 3. Level 3 requires very substantial support. In level 3, people require very substantial support. The third level of autism spectrum disorder is characterized by significant impairments in communication and social interactions, and requires very substantial support in order to function in everyday life. For this, examples are people with level 3 or ASD may have limited verbal skills and may communicate using gestures or other non-verbal means. They may struggle with understanding social cues. This is common in all three levels, but in this it becomes quite intense. Making and maintaining friendships and other social interactions, it could be very difficult for them. They may exhibit repetitive behaviors such as hand flapping or rocking or engaging in self-injurious behavior. This could also be a problem. Additionally, people at this level may also have significant sensory sensitivities. They may find it difficult to process sensory information such as loud noises or bright lights, which can make it challenging to navigate the world around them. For instance, they may cover their ears or become agitated in response to loud sounds, loud noises. They may avoid certain textures or materials due to these sensory sensitivities. This is why individuals with level 3 ASD may require a highly structured environment with few sensory distractions. Although living with level 3 ASD can be challenging, it's important to remember that individuals with ASD have unique strengths and abilities. With the right support and understanding, they can lead fulfilling and happy lives. This is the most important thing which I think people forget about. If somebody has a level 3 what we call a level 3 autism, it could seem, for starters, it could seem that life could be very difficult for them. And I'm sure that life is difficult for them, and especially considering that the normal daily life don't go the way it should go, or people do not give it as importance as they should give it autism, or people do not even try to understand this situation. Or for last couple of decades we have worked on autism quite I might say tremendously and effectively, but still there is a lot of things to do, and there is a lot of room for improvement. And there is a lot of room of improvement. And having said that, it is still very difficult for especially level 3 autistic people to carry on their daily lives and people be considerate to them. It is very important for people to be considerate to them, and to understand the situation they are in. So having said that, it is still possible for level 3 autistic people to have a fulfilling life. Some early signs of ASD in infants and toddlers, I already told you that we're going to talk about these things also. It is important to recognize the early signs. When we talk about different levels and different conditions of autism and how it affect people's life, it is very important to look out for those signs that can tell you that if a person or if a kid or if a child is an autistic if a child is an autistic kid or not. And the reason this is very important is because as early intervention happens, the chances to manage it better becomes very high. So it is very important to recognize the early signs of autism spectrum disorder in infants and toddlers, so that intervention can begin as early as possible. While every child develops at their own pace, there are some common red flags that may indicate the presence of ASD. I was saying that it is very important that you try to get these signs, you try to understand these signs, and you try to look for these signs, so the intervention can be as early as possible. And it is, if it's early in the days, the chance of success or it affects very positively. Some early signs in ASD in infants and toddlers include limited eye contact or lack of interest in making eye contact, delayed or absent babbling, painting or other gestures used for communication, lack of response to their name being called, repetitive behavior such as rocking, hand flapping or spinning objects, difficulty with transitions and changes in routine, sensory sensitivities such as aversion to certain texture or sounds. If you notice any of these signs in your infant or toddler, it is very important to speak with a pediatrician or a health care professional. Early intervention can make a significant difference in improving outcomes for children with ASD. Now, I repeat this thing again and again and again, and it might sound boring to some people, but and usually my colleagues, when we're talking about these kind of things and when you're researching about these kind of things, they ask me this, that you emphasize on this very much and then you repeat these kind of things too many times maybe. And they might be right. I may repeat these kind of things way too many times in one session, but the reason I do that is because it is as much important as I'm trying to convey, and people usually don't give this as as the kind of attention it needs. People don't give it that kind of attention. So if you look carefully and if you look deep enough, you will find these kind of signs if your child is going through these situations or these conditions. And if the intervention can begin as early as possible, while obviously every child develops differently. Some child start talking early in the year when we are 1 year old, or maybe when they are 14 months or 15 months, and some child talks a bit later than the other child. So it's quite normal, but these kind of things you can notice if they are making eye contact, if they are flapping their hands, if they are doing some repetitive kind of things. These kind of things people can notice. If their attention span is very short, and if they don't follow the cues, if they don't stop talking when you are talking, these kind of things you can notice. And then you can just give a tour to your pediatrician or a healthcare professional. The importance of early intervention for individual with ASD is early intervention. I've told you that it is very crucial. It is very crucial for individual with autism spectrum disorder. Different research shows that early identification and intervention can lead to better outcomes in terms of communication, social skills, and cognitive development. Intervention can begin as early as 18 month of age, and it typically involves a team approach that includes healthcare professionals, educator, therapist, and family member. Most importantly, the goal of every early intervention is to provide support and resources to help the individual with ASD reach their full potential. Early intervention may include speech therapy, which I've seen that it is very important, and it works remarkably. It works miraculously. In fact, I might say, if your child, and especially if the child is like 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years old, and he is stuttering again and again and again, and he's stuttering, and otherwise he seems normal, and he's very energetic and everything is cool, but he's stuttering. Now this is apart from autistic kids. Even if he's not autistic, but he's stuttering, he can stutter for some other reason. There's a different this is a different kind of a disorder. If he's stuttering, if you get him some kind of a speech therapy, and if you get to a medical professional, and if the early intervention happens in an early stages, if the intervention can happen in the early stages, it can work miraculously. It really works so for them. And when we talk about these kind of things, please understand that we are not talking about a cure, or these are not illnesses or diseases. These are conditions, and you work with these conditions to make your life better, to improve the quality of your life or your child's life. Speech therapy to improve communication skills such as speaking, listening, and understanding language. One must be willing to put in the effort and practice. It's not just about mastering grammar or vocabulary, but also about understanding cultural nuances and social contexts. The key is to be patient, persistent, most importantly, and open-minded in your approach. One way to improve speaking skills is to practice with a language partner or a tutor. This allows you to receive feedback on your pronunciation, intonation, and grammar, and also gives you the opportunity to practice in a supportive environment. Listening skills can be improved by actively engaging in conversations and paying attention to non-verbal cues such as body language and tone of voice. Understanding language, and on the other hand, it requires a deep understanding of the language structure and syntax. Syntax is very important in these cases. Occupational therapy to help individual develops fine motor skills needed for everyday tasks such as eating or dressing. It is important to engage in activities that promote dexterity and hand-eye coordination. These activities can include playing with small objects, using scissors to cut paper, and practicing handwriting, etc., etc. Applied behavior analysis. This is a very important therapy. Applied behavior analysis is a type of therapy that focuses on teaching new behaviors while reducing unwanted behaviors. ABA is a data-driven therapy, meaning that progress is measured by the collection and analysis of data. There is a complete another video about this ABA therapy on our YouTube channel. You should watch that video. It's a really good video, and we have collected all the information that is relevant to this topic, and that is necessary for this topic, and we have created another video particularly for this applied behavior analysis. You should go and take a look at that video. ABA is a highly individualized therapy, meaning that the therapy is tailored to the specific needs of each individual. This makes it a very effective therapy for a wide range of individuals. Talking about social skills training, to teach individuals with autism spectrum disorder how to interact with others appropriately, one might say, is a challenging yet rewarding task. It requires a deep understanding of the unique needs and learning styles of individuals with ASD. It also involves a great deal of patience and empathy, as individuals with ASD often struggle with social communication and may require additional support to develop these kind of skills, especially empathy. Visual support. When we talk about visual support, it includes such as pictures, symbols, and written words. It can be incredibly helpful for individuals with the ASD who struggle with verbal communication. These supports can help them understand and express their thoughts and feelings more effectively. A picture, for example, it includes picture schedules to help individuals understand the sequence of events throughout the day, social stories to help individuals understand social situations and appropriate behaviors, and visual aids to help individuals communicate basic needs or wants. Augmentative and alternative communication. Augmentative and alternative communication refers to any method of communication that supplements or replaces verbal speech. This can include sign language, picture exchange system, or electronic devices that generate speech. AAC, short for augmentative and alternative communication, can be especially beneficial for individuals with level 2 or level 3 ASD who have significant impairments in verbal communication. It can provide them with an alternative means of accessing or expressing themselves and engaging in social interactions. Social skills training, a very basic level of training, but very important one. Social skills training can also be an effective way of improving communication skills in individuals with ASD, and this type of training focuses on teaching social skills such as turn taking, initiating conversations, and understanding non-verbal cues, etc. Sensory integration therapy. Now this one is a tricky one, but obviously most important one. And when these kind of what you call diagnosis happens with an autistic kid, and he's has these sensory integration problems, for example loud noises, loud bright light, or crowd replaces. So it can be a very problematic thing, not maybe in the house environment, but when they go outside, or when they go to school, or when they go for shopping, these can be a very problematic things. For some individuals with ASD, sensory sensitivities, my S is not good, pronouncing S is quite difficult for me. Sensory sensitivities can interfere with their ability to communicate effectively, and sensory integrations therapy involves helping individuals manage these sensitivities, or so they can better engage in social interactions. I already told you about this. Means that they could have this problem that they can't touch anybody. It could be something like that, brushing the skin to desensitize it, engaging in physical activities to regulate the sensory system, etc. Parent and caregiver involvement. Finally, it's important for parents and caregivers to be actively involved in improving communication skills in individuals with ASD. They can provide ongoing support, encouragement, and practice opportunities outside of therapy sessions. Please keep this in mind, that no matter how good a therapy is or how great a therapist is, if the caregivers, or if the parents or the person who are close to the child, especially in cases when we're talking about a child, if they are not focusing on the child, if they are not giving the support they are supposed to give, the therapy can't help their child. Therapy cannot miraculously, there is no such cure, or it is not these kind of things. All along with the therapies, a child's caregiver's attention and or his parents' attention is very, very much important. Now at the end, I already told you that we are going to talk about some FAQs, frequently asked questions. Now usually we get a really interesting questions, and it really blew my mind, and it pushes me to my edges, and I had to research more and more, and it also helps me understand these kind of different conditions. Lately we got in contact with a kid who is quite young and who is autistic. He's from Israel, and it was really sweet talking to him. It was really cool that we get to talk to him and to know his experiences, and it was really nice. So when you people reach out to us, when you people talk about your situations or your experiences with the autism or ADHD or schizophrenia or any other kind of disorder, it's really touching, it's really emotional for us when you talk about these kind of things with us. it make us feel that ultimately on a bigger level we are all just one, we are all human beings, nothing more and nothing less. So I really appreciate, we really appreciate, the whole team, we really appreciate your concerns, your queries, your questions, and the way you interact with us. Thank you so much for that. Okay, about the question, usually people ask the question, I have made a list of those questions. How common is ASD? Usually people ask these kind of questions. The question which were the most we were asked, I'll come to that question later on, but here's another one. How common is ASD? According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, you might know if you are from America, but if you're not from USA, then it could be a new term for you. CDC is Center for Disease Control, CDC. It's a US organization. Approximately 1 in 54 children in the United States have been diagnosed with ASD. What are some common signs of ASD? If you talk about very briefly or very shortly, or if you want to sum up everything, and if you want to know that what the signs you could look for, or what you should look for, or then the answer would be it includes delayed speech. It includes not only delayed speech, delayed language development, difficulty with social interactions, repetitive behaviors or routines, and sensory sensitivities. These could be the key points of something which should give you the idea that an intervention is required. Can ASD be cured? Now, this is the most frequently asked question to us. Can ASD be cured? Can autism be cured? And I have said this repeatedly, that it is not a disease. Autism is not a disease. It is a condition. And if you want a mathematical answer, there is no cure for autism as of this day. So there is currently no cure for autism spectrum disorder. This is, having said that this is not a disease, it's a condition. However, early intervention and ongoing support can help individuals with ASD lead fulfilling lives. I think I've repeated this enough times, so I'm not going to do this again, but it can help. And here I go, I've said this again. It can help individuals with living a fulfilling life. What types of therapies are used to treat ASD? We have already covered this, but we're going to do that again. There are a variety of therapies that may be used to treat autism spectrum disorder, including speech therapy, occupational therapy, applied behavior analysis, ABA, and social skills training. There are a few other trainings also, other therapies also, that can help you move on with your life. How can I support someone with ASD? This is also a question which people usually ask us, that how they can support somebody who is autistic. Supporting someone with autism spectrum disorder involves understanding their condition, their unique strengths and challenges, and providing them with the appropriate resources and support. This may include creating a supportive environment at home or school, engaging in activities that promote social interaction and communication skills, and connecting them with community resources. Conclusion of the day is understanding the different level of ASD can help individuals and their family receive the appropriate support and services they may need to thrive. While every person with ASD is unique and may require different types of support, understanding the different levels can help you guide the treatment process and support strategies. If you suspect that you or a loved one may have ASD, it is very important for you to talk to a healthcare professional for an evaluation and diagnosis. This is it from today's session. I hope you learned something from this session, and if you have something to share, please do share with us. You can message us, or you can email us, or you can comment on one of the videos. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.